One of the most charming destinations for the tourist in Kyoto is not actually an endpoint in itself, but instead a 2-kilometre long cherry tree lined walkway known as the Philosopher's Path. Japanese philosopher Kitaro Nishida used to walk along this path and meditate, and he's one of an influential group of Japanese academics known collectively as the Kyoto School. The path follows the line of a canal at the base of the mountains in an affluent eastern suburb about 15 minutes from central Kyoto. I found it a delightful and peaceful walk, and it's a popular path for locals too. The plants along the edges confirm the seasons, and in full flower right now you can see azaleas with their dazzling colours, climbing blue clematis, Philadelphus or mock orange with its creamy white blooms, and the English May. Sacred bamboo shows burgundy new foliage, and the flowers aren't far away. Buy some bread from the coffee shop and see if you can entice the carp or local ducks from under the bridges. And this is not a path that you want to take at a trot, because there are some delightful distractions along the way. And how's this for starters? It's a really beautiful little Japanese coffee and tea house. The gardens are just exquisite, exploding with colour and beautiful form. But right now, I'm off to taste some Japanese green tea. I was tempted to try Japanese green tea cappuccino. Now that's different, and the presentation was pretty unusual too. The verdict? Lovely. There are over 1,600 Buddhist temples around Kyoto, and Shorin Temple is but one example. The history of this site goes back 1,200 years, but the buildings we see today are only 100 years old. Higashi Fushimi, the head priest, is directly related to the imperial family, and with his assistant is responsible for running the temple and grounds. Where patronage and donation was the usual way of keeping up with maintenance in previous times, today tourism pays most of the bills. Now it's appropriate that I finish my walk along the Philosopher's Path underneath this majestic 800-year-old camphorwood tree. Now it's valued locally for its bountiful shade and of course its beautiful mature shape. But it's also seen as a fire retardant tree. And you know, I reckon it's the perfect spot to sit down, contemplate, meditate and come up with your own philosophy.
A really great way to get around Japan is to get your hands on a Japan Rail Pass. Now these are available only for tourists and cost between $25 and $40 a day, bought in weekly allotments, allowing you to use the ferries and the trains throughout the country. Now this is a really great way to go in between your major cities via the Shinkansen, Japan's bullet train, as well as into the suburbs using the local rail networks. Now another little piece of advice, taxis are convenient, but they are expensive. However, with that said, the black limousine taxis is something that you have to experience at least once, as it comes with an exceptional level of service.
Just an hour out of Kyoto is Himeji Castle. It's considered Japan's most spectacular castle and well worth adding to your travel schedule as a day trip. Now this truly remarkable building was built in 1333 and continually upgraded for centuries afterwards. Now it's unique because apart from its stone foundation, the whole structure is made of timber with plaster on the outside. Now this unique contribution to World Heritage was recognised when UNESCO placed it on the World Heritage List in 1993. The white plaster has given the castle its name, which roughly translated means white heron. Now despite it being a timber structure, it's never been damaged, making it incomparable in the world for a building like this. It was built as a defensive castle with a moat surrounding it, and its unique internal maze design made it an impenetrable fortress with a purpose to protect the shogun from his enemies. Now, everywhere you turn, there's incredible military strategies being introduced into the architecture to protect the castle. This is a classic example. The entrance comes up in big, long L-shaped runs, and they run underneath this beautiful entrance building. Now, the rock walls on the outside look like the foundation stones, but they're not. It's a false wall. They've got a keystone at the top. Now, if there was an invading army come running up through here, they'd simply pull the keystone out, and all the rocks would cave in and crush the invading soldiers. What a brilliant way to protect the castle. Within the walls are a myriad of dark corridors lined with century-old timber and the occasional clue pointing to the castle's military past. The climb up the castle's main tower reveals spectacular views of Himeji City, as well as the intricate detail and motifs lining the ancient roof. The most common gargoyle you'll see is the Kinshachi. It's a tiger-headed fish which is supposed to protect all 83 buildings from fire, and so far it's worked. The top floor of the tower was the final refuge for the Shogun's family when under attack, and it features a beautiful shrine. Now, you can always rely on the gurus to tell you the best time of the year to visit a place, and believe me, springtime is absolutely spectacular here. The gardens around here are gorgeous. There's some ancient cherry trees and the blossom will be spectacular. And one great thing about springtime, which is late March, early April, is it's not raining. When we come back, Nev goes behind the scenes to find out what goes into the exquisite and detailed art of Japanese kaiseki cuisine.
Travel to Japan with Japan Airlines and JALPAC. The famous Sights and Cultural Delights package is a 9-day trip which includes 7 nights accommodation with breakfast, a half-day Tokyo tour and a 7-day Japan rail pass. While we're only showing you prices per person twin share for today's travel offers from Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne, you can also depart from Adelaide, Canberra or Cairns. You can find out more at www.jalpac.com.au and www.jnto.org.au.